Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the I Don't Give a Care podcast. This is your host, Jessie, with you back for another week. I am so excited to be doing another episode, and thank you for joining me again. If you're new here, my name's Jessie. I know I just said that, but this is a podcast about just not caring, being your authentic self, and putting everything out there on the table. So, we will be talking about anything and everything here on this podcast. So, if that's something you like, I would love if you continue to listen to me, gave me a follow on either Spotify or subscribe on YouTube, and give me a review if you want. That would be very helpful and appreciated. So, thank you for coming back for another episode or joining me for your first episode. Before I get into today's episode, I do want to talk about going forward with this podcast. So now that this is my seventh podcast, I have a pretty good idea of how long it kind of takes to like film, edit, plan, write a script, and kind of just do all the stuff that it takes to make a podcast. I didn't realize how much work it takes, but wow, it is a lot of work. And I realized because I'm just starting out, it does not have to be perfect. And just being consistent is what matters. And that is always something I've struggled with. And keeping up with something just because it's not turning out the way that I want it to turn out. My point is, I put out a few little polls on my Instagram the other day about going forward with this podcast, and I got some good feedback. So thank you everybody who voted on my Instagram. So I was just trying to see like what people really listen to and what people really expect when they listen to a podcast. And my conclusion from that was basically a lot of people just listen to podcasts, which I mean, that makes sense. Most people just listen to podcasts. So I don't really need to film myself every week. And that is kind of what takes up a lot of the time, is filming and editing that. Another thing is some people like a mix of shorter episodes and longer episodes, which is good to know because sometimes I just have like these short little topics that I just want to talk about quickly and just get it off my mind and talk about it with people. And then other times I have these very long episodes that I would love to kind of rant about, and I have a lot of subtopics in that. So it's good to know. So every other week I'm going to do videos, and the other weeks I'm going to do just shorter, easier recorded episodes that don't require much editing. And for these episodes that are just going to be me talking instead of like all this editing, it's going to be more candid and just me talking and not so much editing after and the reason I edit is because I'm someone that rants and rambles a lot. If you can't tell, like, oh my God, this intro is already like 5 minutes long, but yeah, I can get off topic and don't get out what I'm saying all the time. And I also stutter sometimes and just mess up words. And I also use a lot of filler words sometimes, like or all those annoying words, So I try to edit those out, but I can't always edit all those out because that will take 10 years to do that. I'm going to keep this going for a little bit longer. Surprisingly, a lot of people want to hear more about like mental health, self-growth, and just healing episodes. So that was interesting to hear. I'm still going to do all of the topics that I want to do, but I will also keep in mind that a lot of people want to hear more about like self-growth and just mental health. And I do have so many topics about that. I wasn't sure because they are some of these topics that I have regarding mental health and self-growth. They're very vulnerable to share with the world. And I still am, always will be, going through my own mental health journey. Like, I'm not going to lie, I have been struggling these past winter months. Like, the winter blues have really gotten me this year, and I haven't been working since I moved a few months ago and left my full-time job. So it's been a big change for me, and I also haven't been going to the gym like I used to. So yeah, my mental health has definitely taken like a hit the past few months. And so I kind of feel like a fraud talking about mental health on a podcast when I myself haven't been doing the best. But at the same time, I do think it's important to have these conversations and just be candid about what I'm going through personally, but without giving too much details away, because I do think Being private about some things is important because not everybody out there has the best interest for you and wants to see you succeed and is praying, maybe praying on your downfall and hoping that your mental health is bad. So, like I don't know who's listening to my podcast, and I don't really just want everybody in the world knowing about my personal life and what I'm going through mentally and physically. So that's another reason I was a bit hesitant, but yeah, so that's where I'm at with that. I will be talking about mental health though because it is something that is such a huge part of my life as is for a lot of people, most people in the world it should be. But I'm always someone that love to talk about deep conversations and kind of have these open conversations because I think they're truly so important to just talk about the struggles we're going through and also the good things we're going through. I think it's just important as a community to be open with each other and not judge each other on some of these things so that we can be there for each other. Ever since I was a kid, I've always felt very deeply. I've always wanted to talk about deep topics and just feelings. And I always feel like this kind of made me feel like an outcast a little bit, just feel different from other people. Because as you get older, you realize that not everybody thinks deeply. Not everybody really is that self aware about their feelings and how their feelings affect other people, how their actions affect other people. And that is exactly what we're going to be talking about today. And this episode is going to be about how to exist in a world you feel misunderstood by. And I've always felt a little bit misunderstood, not just because I feel really deeply, I always have, but because I've always been very sensitive. I don't know why. I've just been a very emotional person my whole life, very sensitive. I do have a very big heart. That has kind of led me to be like a people pleaser in a lot of aspects of my life. And for this reason, I feel like it's made me attract a lot of people that don't feel as deeply as I do. They just don't think the same way. And I've always just never been able to understand that. And why other people don't think the same way as I do. And I have met other people that are like this, but it is rare. It is rare to find people that are as deep and want to talk about deep conversations. I feel like a lot of people are just very surface level. They just like to have small talk, and talking about deep conversations and just having those uncomfortable conversations that are considered deep are just rare. Like a lot of people just don't like to have them, I've noticed. And I thought that was weird because I thought, doesn't everybody like to have these conversations? Because like for example, me and my sister and some of my best friends, like we have these conversations all the time. And it's just normal for us. So when I meet other people that don't like to talk about these things or have these deep conversations or think deeply and feel deeply, it just comes off very like foreign to me. What made me kind of want to talk about this topic is because recently I watched a TikTok about this guy talking about how you're kind of the odd man out if you feel deeply in today's world. Like it's kind of rare. Like not everybody has the same heart as you, has the same deep thoughts as you, and just kind of thinks about how their actions affects others and just has a lot of self-awareness. He said it is rare to be like that. Like a lot of people are just very self-absorbed, just kind of think about themselves. Like we are in a society or a world now where everybody is like me first, only my feelings matter, got to put myself first and everything. And we are just becoming a lot more selfish. And it kind of sucks that we're headed that way because it's like, okay, am I the weird one because I don't want to do that? And when you don't put yourself first, you attract people that only put themselves first and then they end up doing you dirty. And what I realized after watching that, it's hard to come to terms that not everybody has empathy as well. Like that's not something everybody is born with, is just having an empathetic understanding of other people around you. I've always felt this deeply. I feel other people's energy very strongly. Like as soon as I walk into a room, I can feel energy and just how somebody's feeling. But it is hard. It is hard to deal with being an empath, I guess is what they're called. Yeah, it's hard because you pick up easily on other people's emotions, and it's hard when they just switch very fast. And it sometimes can feel like you're walking on eggshells around people because you feel their emotions so deeply. And if the slight like change in the environment or wherever you are, you can feel that. This level of empathy makes you feel very deeply about others. It makes you feel deeply about how your actions and words affect others. Also, that you just have a really big heart and want to do good by others. And it can just be very draining because sometimes you just put yourself before others. And that is usually what leads to people becoming a people pleaser. And I was a big people pleaser for a lot of my life, and not so much in the most recent years because of just like life circumstances and everything that's happened has kind of made me have to put myself first more. And it did feel weird to me at first, but now I'm getting more used to it. But if you're listening to this, then you're probably someone that identifies as being an empath, and you probably feel other people's emotions very deeply as well. You probably have a really big heart. You probably put others before you most of the time at your own expense. And you've probably also tried extra hard to fit in your whole life and just be accepted by others and kind of like be perceived as normal, even though it isn't the norm. And that's what we're talking about. Like, a lot of people misunderstand us, that people who think and feel like this, because we're seen as extra sensitive or extra emotional. And it's looked at as something that needs to be fixed. When in reality, having empathy and this level of sensitivity is a superpower. And the world needs people with this level of empathy. And we need to have different types of people in the world. Like, some people are more direct and grounded and level headed, and then others are more sensitive and empathetic and caring about other people. But we need to have like a balance of these type of people in the world. We definitely need more empathy in the world though. Like, I'm sorry, but we do. It is by human nature to have community and to care for others, and that's how we thrive, is by helping each other out and having each other. And I feel like, not to get all like conspiracy, but I do believe in lots of conspiracies, so I will talk about that in the future. But I will say that the elites and the government and all the higher ups that own everything, that is their goal, is to isolate us from each other. It is their goal to drive us away from each other and to kind of think for ourselves and only care about ourselves. That's why everybody is becoming so me and selfish, because that is what they want. That is how they win, and that is how they thrive, is by us being against each other and not having community. That is how that happens. That's how they stay in power. So that is just something to think about as well. See, I'm getting off track. If you're someone that's always felt misunderstood their whole lives for just feeling deeply and having a lot of emotions and just being sensitive, or you were called too sensitive your whole life, then you're probably also really scared to take up space. Where others, it feels like space is just made for them. Like, they walk into a room and it's theirs, like they own the room. But you feel like you can't take up space, and you feel bad to take up space. You feel bad to put yourself out there. You feel bad to raise your voice in a room. That's because you were probably made to feel like your voice doesn't matter, that your emotions don't matter, that it's really not that deep. Like, people will say that to you your whole life. I've heard that. Like, it's really not that deep. Like, you're overthinking things. You're probably a huge overthinker like me. And the reason why you feel misunderstood is because most people don't actually think about others. They don't feel deeply, and they don't think about how their actions affect others. It's not the majority of people. It is kind of rare, unfortunately. Apparently, a lot of people actually have to learn how to have empathy, which is kind of mind-boggling to me because I thought it was just something people were born with. I mean, obviously, as you go through things and life circumstances happen, you obviously gain more empathy as you get older, and you get more emotionally intelligent as you get older and as you go through things and you learn more things. But it seems like a lot of people don't ever learn that. Like, they just don't have empathy for other people. They don't care about other people. It's just crazy. Like, I don't know. And a lot of people will do shitty things, and you're just like dumbfounded how they could even do that to someone else or treat somebody like that, or like, I don't know. I've always thought that to myself. Like, how do people just go walking around in their life doing that shit to people. But here's what I'll say to that. When you can't understand why other people do shitty things to other people, it is actually a blessing, because that means you don't have that capacity to even think of doing those things to other people. And I know it's hard to understand why some people do certain things, and you know what? It's a blessing that you don't understand that, and you will never understand that. You just don't have that in you to ever do something like that. And a lot of people just don't think about how their actions affect other people, how their words affect other people. They don't put themselves in other people's shoes. They don't have that awareness. And it is a blessing that you don't understand that why some people are like that. So just look at it that way. And I know this episode was about how to exist in a world you feel misunderstood by. So let's talk about some of the ways of how to exist when you feel this deeply and when you have all these emotions and you're just a sensitive soul. Maybe an old soul, who knows? But at the end of the day, you have a lot of emotions. You are a sensitive person, and there's no use in trying to hide that part of yourself and change that part of yourself, because like I said before, it is your superpower, and we need people like you. We need people like me. We need people like us in the world. Okay? Like, let's stop denying the fact that empathy is a skill that a lot of people don't have and have never learned. A lot of people were just born with it and just naturally have that. So it is important that you embrace it. So embrace your sensitive side. That is my number one tip to start off with how to exist in a world where you feel misunderstood by, is to embrace your sensitive side. Look at it as a gift. It's your superpower, and it's such an important trait to have, because not everybody is like this. And you know this. You've been knowing this, because that's why you feel so misunderstood in your life. You realize not everybody is like you. So that's a good thing. Realize that, and realize that you're unique, and embrace it. The world needs people like us. We need people with empathy. Otherwise, do you know how much chaos would be happening in the world, and horrible things and horrible people would just get away with all these things if people didn't have empathy? Like, come on. Okay, the next thing on how to exist in a world like this, where you feel misunderstood a lot of the time. Well, the truth is, you feel energy on a deep level, so guess what? You need to protect it. And as much as you want to put other people first, and yes, I know you're probably a people pleaser like I once was, you need to prioritize the relationship with yourself. You do need to put yourself first to some extent. Yes, you can still care about people. You can still have empathy for other people and care about other people, but that does not mean putting other people first before you. You need to prioritize the relationship with yourself, and you need to protect your energy. A way you can do this is by putting up boundaries, not letting people walk all over you and treat you some type of way. A lot of people can sense when you are someone that has a big heart and cares a lot about other people and has a lot of empathy and is like kind of a sensitive soul. People can sense this about you. So guess what they're going to try to do? They're going to try to walk all over you. They're going to try to use you. They're going to try to treat you some type of way because they think you're weak. A lot of people see people with empathy and having a sensitive nature as someone who is weak, but that is so not true. So guess what? You need to protect your energy and protect yourself, and just not let people treat you this way. Another thing I found interesting that I saw, which I never thought about it this way before, especially when I was a major people pleaser, is that people pleasing actually kind of makes everybody suffer in the end, because you feel like you're putting other people first and helping them out and doing a good thing, but it's at the expense of your own happiness. And people can feel that when you're not happy and kind of like putting your own happiness to the side. They can feel that. So you might think people pleasing is kind of like, oh, I'm being a good person, I'm putting them first, I'm being so giving and kind. But if you're not actually happy about doing that, and it's kind of costing you your mental health and your peace, then people can feel that. And it's just kind of damaging for everybody in the end, because people can feel when you don't actually want to do something, and you get resentful of that, and it's kind of bothering you and taking away your peace. So just think about that. Another way to help not feel so misunderstood in the world is to find other like-minded people, or a community that feels just as deeply as you and who thinks deeply and has those deep conversations. And I know that's kind of contradicting what I just said, because You feel misunderstood by the world. You feel like nobody else thinks like you and feels like you. But guess what? There's tons of people out there that feel like us and are like us. You just have to go out and put yourself out there and find those communities. There are so many ways to meet people, join different groups, find new hobbies, join like discussions. Like there's so many ways to find people that are just deep thinkers. There's so many different ways you can find people, but I'm sure you're not the only one in your life that feels and thinks like this. And I know I'm not. I have so many people in my life that are actually deep thinkers, but I'm just saying the majority of people in the world are not. So that's where that can be hard and why you might feel misunderstood by a lot of the world. But you do have to surround yourself with people who have similar morals and people who treat people good, treat people the way that you also want to be treated. Because the people you surround yourself with are also a reflection of you. So if you're saying that you care about people and you have empathy for people and you care about how other people are treated, then why are you hanging out with people that don't do the same? Why are you hanging out with people that don't have the same morals as you and treat people badly? You got to think about that. So find people or a community that think and feel the same way that you do and have those similar morals, because trust me, it's important. Don't they say like the 5 people that you surround yourself with the most is who you end up most like? You may say you have this big heart and have these deep feelings, and that's probably true. But you need to hang out with people that also have a big heart and have deep conversations and also want to help other people in the world. And that leads me to my last point on what you can do if you feel misunderstood by the world and you have all these big feelings and you have all this empathy and love to give to the world. So redirect your energy. You need to use your empathy as your superpower towards things that you actually can control, rather than focusing on all the things and all the people that you can't change and can't control. Use it to do good in the world, like helping people in need, joining a community, doing a random act of kindness, creating art that needs to be seen by the world. All of these things are places where you can redirect all of this energy that you have and all this empathy that you have and these deep feelings. Put it out into the world for good. Do something good with all of this instead of focusing on people that don't appreciate that, who call you too sensitive, who think you're too much and dramatic and have too much empathy and whatever it is. Focus and redirect your energy into people that deserve it and to things that need it, people that need it. Because trust me, there are a lot of people that need our empathy in the world. There are a lot of causes in the world. There's a lot of communities in the world that need our empathy in order to spark change and to grow movements and to just help our world become a better place is what really matters. Maybe you see a lot of homeless people where you live. Instead of walking past them and treating them like they're animals or they're not people, think of ways that you could help them. Like maybe bring them food or give them water or something. Help them in any way. I mean, it is sad because our government won't help these people that are struggling on the street. So these people need community. They need us. They need people that have empathy. So that's just an example there. There's so many people out there struggling with other issues too, like mental health and anything they're going through. Maybe it's financial issues. Maybe it's relationship issues. If you have knowledge in those areas and you have empathy, then help those people in those communities. Go out and help people and talk about your experience and put art out there. Maybe write a book, maybe make a video, maybe, I don't know, start a podcast, like do anything to kind of get your sensitive side and your deep feelings and all of that stuff out there. And that is exactly why I wanted to start a podcast, because I had all these deep feelings, deep thoughts, all these experiences, but nowhere to kind of like put those thoughts and feelings. And I thought, well, you know what? I love being creative. I love talking. I love making videos. So why not combine all of those and start a podcast? And I do love talking about a bunch of topics. So like I have so many deep feelings and thoughts about so many different topics. And I know a lot of this could help people in any shape or form or way. So why not? Why not talk about it? So if you are someone that has a lot of things and feelings and things to talk about and experiences, then do the same. Like do something with it, because surrounding yourself with people that think you are too sensitive or too deep and you just don't relate to them and you feel misunderstood, then you don't need to feel that way. Embrace your sensitive side. This is your superpower, and it's definitely a gift to the world, and you need to embrace that. Anyways, I definitely rambled a lot during this episode, but I really hope someone, if not a lot of people, could relate to this. I know I'm not the only deep thinker out there. I always think so much about everything. I probably overthink about a lot of things. Let me know if this helped you at all, and I would love to hear your thoughts. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed listening to this episode today and that it helped you realize that your feelings are not something that you need to shove away. Your sensitive side is not something to be ashamed of. And just because you feel misunderstood by the world does not mean there's something wrong with you. It means that there's more to you than meets the eye, and you need to embrace that. You need to embrace how you treat people and just having a big heart in general. And don't hide that from the world. All right. Thank you so much for listening today, everybody. And I hope to catch you next week for my next episode. And on Wednesdays, we don't give a care.